Alright, well today's project is getting the planter, the row units ready. So
I got all the hydraulics hooked up and electrical hooked up, and when I just turned the key on, I seen every row unit had the red light turn on them, so I know everything's talking to each other. So getting row units ready and going very fast, which is a good thing.
yeah, definitely. So we're doing a little bit different this year. Actually, I don't know. We just decided to take half of the row units all the way off and just stack them over here on the floor. And then when we put this away last spring, we took the speed tubes out, or the tubes, and we left those all out. So now all we have to do is we're coming in here and we grabbed all the speed tubes and we put all the high speed, the belts in there. So all of those were stacked. So all we had to do is grab one of the row units, switch over the plate. So we put them away with no corn or bean plate in there, but everything else is ready. So really it's just grabbing a row unit, flipping out a plate. Nick will I'm sure he'll be back for the next one soon, and we can watch that. And then go by, I put all the seals on, the little springs that hold them in place, and we put the speed tube in and then finish it up with the row unit. And along the way we're just making sure there's no mud down there, and yeah, we have help again today, Daddy Daycare, so no injuries yet, so that's good. But yeah, and then we're also just checking the electrical, making sure there's no wires that have gotten pinch cut, and then air lines as well. I know, what do you say, we have one for sure?
I know of one for sure, and I believe this is how it was last year. I had one get pinched off, and then I lost all of my pressure to all of the closing discs. So it was late enough in the season where I thought I'm not even going to worry about it. I think I had 80 acres to go and didn't have any issues with it, so that was good. But need to get that fixed, and then I haven't seen anything else that makes me concerned anyway.
Alright, yesterday I came out after work and we got a little over half of the planter, our row units switched around, ready for corn. Nick actually finished the rest of it this morning. So now we've got a couple more projects going. We're still working on the serrated closing discs on the back. Those needed to be replaced, and it's quite the battle. The dust caps are insanely difficult to get off, and then the bolts are on there crazy tight. So looks like the design of them, there's no pin or anything in the back to keep the bolt from like backing out, so it looks like they're just Loctited in, which makes them really hard to get out. So one thing I did notice when we were going through is I did find the one pneumatic line that is cut there. So we'll have to get that replaced, and it looks like this one is definitely kinked and leaking. I'm not sure if it's totally shot or not, but anyway, we need to get those fixed, otherwise you're gonna lose the pressure of those closing discs. So those air lines, the compressors in the back, they come all the way up here, sort through, and then they control here on this cylinder that controls your adjustment on your pressure for the closing discs. So back here on this, so you can see here's the factory closing disc, and then here's these new fancy serrated ones. So each kit naturally comes with a closing disc, and then 4 washers or spacers, basically, is what I'm finding out, and then 2 dust caps. And the reason why it has new dust caps is because you can't get those things off without beating them to the point where they can't be used again. So yeah, we've been trying the different spacers. So basically we had it on before, and we only had one in the front and one in the back, and that left like a little gap. And then if you tighten it, like tighten the nut all the way, you couldn't spin the closing disc. But if you left it loose enough, then there was like play in it, which obviously that's going to warp and just machine that thing right out. It would just eat the metal, I think. So I think we got that figured out. Nick's not sure that he trusts the Loctite on the bolts not to back out when you're going. So you're going to be coming through like this. The bolt's threaded this way. There's no... In theory, this should not touch the bolt or loosen it at all, because it doesn't matter which way it's spinning. There's a bearing right there, but he's just afraid this is going to back out. So I don't know if we're going to put some more Loctite on there or what we're going to do with that. But yeah, so I'm going to spend some time here trying to get this dust cap off, which literally consists of trying to get daylight here with a screwdriver and pounding on it. I'm going to actually put a vice grips on here and see if I can, I guess, crack it loose a little bit, somehow get just on the lip here and crack that loose. So I'm going to try that too. There's got to be a better solution or a better way than just smacking it with a screwdriver, because it's not. I mean, when they say dust caps, these things are airtight. There's nothing getting in here. It's crazy how tight they are. And then once he did get it off last time, we had to use this pipe just to crack the bolt loose. Also had to have a narrow wall socket just to fit in here, so hopefully I can show you a little bit of that as I do it. Well, I've got the vice grip attached here just to the cap. I don't know how well that's going to show up, but now the next problem is, like, basically I'm going to have to wedge this in here somehow to get this to stop spinning and hopefully be able to pry it loose, but I don't think this is going to work. It's going to have to be a different method. Alright, the vice grips, as expected, was an epic failure, so now we're going to resort to a chisel. Hopefully Nick doesn't watch this part, because it's actually a pretty nice sharp chisel, and I'm about to smack it against metal with a hammer. So, oh well, I'm not wrecking the chisel. You can always resharpen it, and it is in the shop. It's not like we're a woodworking shop here. We don't need a sharp chisel to be working on cabinets or anything. So yeah, let's see if that works. Holy cow, that actually worked really good. Created a nice gap there. Nice. I think I can just smack it a couple more times and then wiggle that thing off with the channel lock or the pliers. Voila! Alright, now for the fun part. Or at least it looked not fun when Nick did the last one, but I'm going to try to crack this nut loose, and like I said, it's got the blue Loctite on it, and it was really tough last time, so let's see what I can figure out for that. Jeez, it's turning it. One of these times you're going to end up breaking the socket, I can guarantee it. That is insane how tight that is. It's like a 2.5, 3 foot pipe. But it's working. Finally. The very end, and then it finally starts spinning. Yeah, that blue Loctite, that's no joke. Holy cow. That's definitely not turning out of there, that's for sure. Can't believe how tight that was. And it was just like that on the other one when Nick took it out. But we don't have any of this blue Loctite. I think we just have the red stuff. So Nick's going to go grab some. So I'm actually not going to put the other closing disc, the new one, that serrated one, back on. I'm going to wait till we have that Loctite. But at least we have a strategy now. And I know that doing this won't take like an hour. Whereas before, I think he worked on that other one for a couple hours just for one. So figured out a method, and now we can get it done. Well, I called Nick and gave him a little update that I found a good, easy way to get this cap off now with that chisel, and he told me he was just gonna screw a hole through the front of them, or drill a hole through the front of them, and then pry them off that way. And I told him I got this with that chisel. It worked, and I got them off very easily and don't have to beat on anything. It says his main concern is just pounding on that and bending anything. These back swing arms, they seem like they've got more play than they should have. So the cast here must have separated a little bit. I'm sure we hit something with these because there's like play like that, whereas like that there's none. So that's the hard part about when they make parts out of cast like this. Once it bends, you can't get it back. So it just stays. You can flex it back, but it won't stay again. So eventually we're gonna have to get some new cast parts for this planter, because yeah, like one of them's loose. Well, the rest of them seem pretty good. So yeah, that's nice and tight. I mean, I don't think it's gonna have a big difference on performance at all. Probably not noticeable, but eventually I would guess that it's going to get so sloppy that something's going to break off, or it's just really, I guess, wear things bad. So anyway, I am going to continue the 4 middle units here behind the planter in between the tracks. And the methodology, or why we're doing that, just those, is because the quad tracks actually go in between here. And last year, Nick said when they were checking it behind it, they had noticed that it just wasn't really closing them up nice. It was just kind of pushing it. It wasn't breaking up that dirt and really covering that seat up nice. So that's why we're going with more of an aggressive closing disc, because that should chop some of that up, get it pushed in the way. That way this packing wheel can come in here. I think that's what it's called. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on terminology, but that wheel goes over it when this closes the trench and wheels over it. There's good dirt there. So anyway, just like a little enhancement for this year on this. So all right, probably 20 minutes later, and I got all of the factory old closing discs on those 4 like that taken off. I got the grease or the dust caps off. So tomorrow, once we get that Loctite, we can put it back together. So one more thing that's almost done. I would say if they said you're ready, you can plant as soon as you're ready, we could probably have this thing ready to rock in, I don't know, a couple hours conservatively. So we're pretty much there. I know everyone else probably has their planter ready and everything, but it's not like we're way behind. I know last year we were probably another 10 days before we even had the planter out of the shed. So I guess you could say we're learning from we're learning as we go, because last year was a bit of a scramble. It was stressful for me, at least. I know Nick was stressed, and we're trying to learn, trying to do better, be smarter. So anyway, we'll see you back here tomorrow morning, because we got that seed showing up. So we'll be back then.
So we got seed just rolling in now. Get all that unloaded. Oh, 2 trucks. Perfect. But get all that unloaded, and then it sounds like they're bringing another load at about 1 o'clock. So right after lunch, we're gonna get more seed. should go pretty smoothly.
So they just showed up with a couple trucks, and I believe this is all of our remaining corn. So it sounds like the beans will be coming later. If you don't know, so basically we try to keep our rotation like 50-50 each year, dang close, and we'll have multiple times more bean bins than we do corn. It just, the population is so much higher on the beans, I believe, so you obviously plant a lot more seeds. So looks like we're going to end up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 or 14 boxes of corn, and then the beans will come, and I would say that's going to be 20s plus. So anyway, he's getting this unloaded, and then I think beans will be here next load.
So we got most of our corn and probably about, I don't know, quarter of our beans in now, and then they're coming back here in about an hour. So yeah, I didn't notice that they were Brevant at first, and I thought this was all corn. I was thinking somebody messed up on adding up acres there.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I was earlier. I mentioned I thought this was all corn. That's the indication I got when they got here. But
that's what I was told.
I was like,
too.
all these boxes are corn, because then I'm doing the math for the beans, and I'm like, we're gonna have so many boxes sitting out here. But
Yep.
yeah, sounds like a little more corn and a lot more beans coming.
Yep. So
it's hard to organize it before you know exactly what else is coming, because we have obviously have a specific order in which we plant, and the corn's not too difficult because it's not that many boxes. I think we have 7 total, but the beans, from what I remember last year,
it's a lot.
a ton, and yeah, got to get them organized. So
right now I think I'm gonna stack the beans over,
Right.
just throw them over there for now until we get all the corn in, and then, well, really I should throw all the corn over there, so then the beans are in the back.
all right, next load has arrived. Coming in bags. We never had that last year, so we'll have to get the lowdown from Nick. This is a foreign subject matter for me.
So we got seed unloaded, we got it all put away. We're waiting on another truck now, but if you can't tell, it's snowing. Yeah, not too sure how I feel about that. April 18th today, and snow.
Looks like that's the last of the beans.
Yep. Never had the semi come out here.
Efficient, better than 5 more trips.
Yep.
Smells a little bit warm to me.
Yeah.
Probably the 100 mice that are living in there finally started on fire.
Yeah, got all our seed in. It's not sorted at all, but it's in the shed and looks decent, not taking up the entire shed. Still got the planter in, so yeah, probably next week sometime we'll spend an afternoon just sorting it and getting it in the right spots for how I want to take it out. Next week we plan, hopefully middle of the week, it dries up enough where we can get in the field, do some tillage, and hopefully start getting some seed in the ground. We're a few days after the insurance cutoff, whatever you want to call it, so time to start buckling down and getting some stuff done out in the field and not just in the shed. So hopefully we can be doing that anyway, but if you like today's video, like, subscribe, leave us a comment if you have something for us to hear. On that, you guys have a good one.